be here with a Jurgen. No, Mikater.
She is my mother.
Get away from her!
What? What are you doing?
Where is my daughter? Went in to wet them apartment.
Ma'am, you need to calm down.
The fluorescent lights of the hospital hum above me, that cold, sterile kind of brightness that makes everything feel too real. My palms are sweating. I'm pacing outside my mother's room, listening to the rasp in her breathing, the kind of sound that makes you pray and panic at the same time. Then I hear it. The sharp click of heels cutting through the hallway. A woman's voice, clipped and entitled. "I want that room," she says. My husband pays enough in dues. I deserve it. The nurse looks stunned, quietly explaining that the room is already occupied, that a patient, my mother, is inside. But before she can finish, the woman is already halfway through the door. I step forward, blocking her path. "You can't just barge in there." She looks me dead in the eye and says, "People like you always think rules apply to everyone else." That room was my mother's. That woman, my neighbor. The self-proclaimed HOA president, didn't care. She thought her status would protect her. She was wrong. Let me all start from beginning. When we first moved into Maple Ridge Estates, it felt like hitting reset on life. The kind of neighborhood you see in real estate ads, trimmed hedges, families waving as you drive by, that perfect balance of quiet and community. I remember thinking, maybe this is where Mom can finally rest easy. She'd been battling a slow, cruel illness for years. The kind that steals little pieces of energy every day until even breathing feels like effort. When the hospital closer to town upgraded its care unit, I jumped on the chance to move her there. It was modern, clean, and only 15 minutes from our new home. I thought I'd finally given her what she deserved, peace. That peace lasted about a week. The first time I met Brenda Wallace, she appeared on my doorstep holding a clipboard and a smile so tight it could crack glass. The self-appointed HOA president, though she liked to say community coordinator, Brenda was the kind of woman who could make a compliment sound like a threat. "Welcome," she chirped, eyes flicking from my mom's wheelchair ramp to the boxes still stacked in our entryway. "We love new families who take pride in appearances. Just make sure that ramp's color matches the exterior palette. We're very strict about cohesion." It was the first time I realized cohesion meant control. Still, I played along, smiled, nodded. I had too much going on with Mom's care to pick a fight over paint codes. For the next few weeks, Brenda's presence became part of the background, her SUV always parked perfectly centered in her driveway, her gaze always lingering just a second too long when we passed. Then came the hospital incident. Mom had finally gotten a private room. Quiet, clean, with enough space for her medical equipment, and a little window overlooking the courtyard. I decorated it with family photos and a small potted plant. It felt safe until Brenda showed up. I spotted her in the hallway one morning, arguing with a nurse near the reception desk. "I'm on the hospital board," she said loudly, though I later learned that wasn't true. "I know how these rooms are supposed to be assigned." The nurse tried to calm her, but Brenda's tone just got sharper. "I've been waiting 3 weeks for a private room, and that woman," she pointed toward my mom's door, "has been here barely a few days." The nurse apologized politely, reminding her that my mother's medical condition required isolation. Brenda's smile vanished. "I'll be checking on this personally," she snapped, and stomped off, heels clicking like a metronome of menace. I tried to brush it off. People like her, they feed off reactions. I didn't want to give her one, but it didn't stop. A few days later, one of the nurses told me someone had been asking questions about my mom's insurance and care plan. Another day, I caught a glimpse of Brenda outside Mom's window, pretending to take photos of maintenance issues in the courtyard. When I confronted her, she smiled sweetly. "Oh, don't worry," she said, "just ensuring everyone follows the proper standards. You'd be shocked at what people get away with when no one's watching. It wasn't just unsettling him, it was invasive." Mom, bless her, tried to stay positive. "She's probably just lonely," she said one afternoon, voice weak but kind as ever. "Not everyone knows how to handle other people's pain." I wanted to believe that, but something about Brenda's tone, the precision, the entitlement, felt colder than loneliness. It was something else. Over the next week, she escalated. First, little things. A courtesy notice slipped under my door about improper parking, even though my car was exactly where it should be. Then an email accusing me of leaving unsightly equipment on my porch, referring to my mom's oxygen tanks. When I didn't respond, she started showing up at the hospital more often. Not visiting anyone, just there, hovering near the nurse's station. Pretending to check her phone outside my mom's room, every instinct I had told me it wasn't about rules anymore. It was about power. One afternoon, while I was talking to Mom, I heard the door open behind me. I turned, and there she was. Brenda. No knock, no permission, clipboard in hand, that smug little smile still in place. "Oh, I'm just checking that the room meets the board's standards," she said. "We can't have people abusing privileges, you know." I stood up so fast the chair scraped the tile. "You need to leave. Right now," she blinked like I was the one being unreasonable. "Excuse me? I have every right to—" I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "You have no right to be here. This is a hospital room, not an HOA meeting." For a moment, she just stared at me, that icy, calculating stare that said she wasn't used to being challenged. Then she tilted her head, lips curling into something between a smirk and a warning. "Careful," she said softly. "People who make scenes don't tend to last long in this community." And with that, she turned and walked out, clipboard tucked under her arm like a trophy. Mom's hand trembled slightly as she reached for mine. "Don't let her get to you," she whispered. "People like that. They always push until someone pushes back." I nodded, forcing a calm I didn't feel. Because Mom didn't know what I already suspected. Brenda wasn't just being nosy. She was planning something personal, and the next time she crossed that line, it wouldn't be with a clipboard. It would be something much worse. There's a strange kind of exhaustion that comes when fear becomes routine. It's not panic anymore. It's something quieter, heavier. You start jumping at shadows without realizing it. Every sound, every knock at the door feels like another shoe about to drop. By the second month, Brenda had turned that fear into a full-time job for us. It started with the notes. Folded, anonymous, printed on hospital letterhead that she somehow got her hands on. Some people take advantage of kindness. Rules exist for a reason. Certain rooms are meant for those who deserve them. I'd find them taped to the door, tucked under my windshield wiper, even slipped between pages of my mother's prayer book. The staff suspected her, but without direct proof. They couldn't do much. Then came the camera. One night, I arrived late to check on Mom and noticed a faint red light blinking near the air vent outside her room. A small hidden camera. Someone had planted it, aimed straight at the bed. Hospital security pulled the feed. It wasn't hooked into the hospital's system. It was local, meant to be retrieved later. And though they couldn't prove it yet, everyone knew whose fingerprints were metaphorically all over it. Still, Brenda kept coming around, sometimes pretending to visit another patient, sometimes checking on maintenance. Each time she appeared, that fake charm was there. But her eyes told another story. Cold. Calculating. The kind of look that didn't just want control. It needed it. One evening, I walked into Mom's room and found Brenda again, standing at the window, looking out like she owned the place. "I knocked," she said without turning around. No one answered. "That's because you weren't invited," I said. She faced me then, smile tight, eyes sharp. "You think you're better than the rest of us because your mother got special treatment? I've been part of this community for over a decade. And now you come in here acting like the rules don't apply." I tried to keep my voice calm. "There are no rules that say a dying woman can't have peace." Her jaw tightened. "Peace isn't a right. It's something you earn." That line stuck with me. Peace isn't a right. It sounded like something she'd been telling herself for years. I asked her to leave. Security escorted her out. For a few days, things went quiet. Then came the night everything fell apart. It was just after 9 p.m. The hospital was quiet, that soft hum of machines and muted footsteps echoing down polished hallways. I was in the cafeteria grabbing coffee when I got a call from a nurse on the floor. "You need to come back. Now." The tone in her voice froze my blood. When I reached Mom's ward, alarms were already blaring. Nurses rushed past me. Through the small window of her room, I saw chaos, and Brenda. She was inside, screaming, pointing something. At first, I thought it was another clipboard. Then I saw the metal. The gun. Mom was still in bed, pale, terrified, barely able to sit upright. A nurse was shielding her, trying to calm Brenda down, hands raised. I'll never forget the sound, that hollow, thunderous crack that echoed down the corridor. It wasn't like in movies. It was shorter, colder. People ducked. I ran forward before I even realized what I was doing. Security tackled her seconds later, the gun clattering to the tile floor. By the time I reached Mom's side, she was clutching her chest, trembling but alive. The bullet had missed, grazed the wall behind her. But the shock, the fear, it nearly broke her. Paramedics rushed in, stabilizing her as police swarmed the floor. I remember one of the officers saying, almost in disbelief, "All this over a hospital room." Brenda didn't fight the arrest. She just stood there, eyes vacant, whispering something I couldn't make out. Maybe it was denial. Maybe it was justification. Later in the police report, she claimed she didn't mean to fire, that she was provoked, that the gun wasn't loaded, it was loaded, fully. The weeks after were a blur of hospital meetings, legal calls and therapy sessions for Mom. She survived physically, but the emotional toll was something no medicine could heal. The hospital enforced stricter visitor policies. The neighborhood buzzed with gossip, half in shock, half pretending they'd always known she'd snap. When the case finally went to court, the courtroom was packed. I sat behind the prosecution table, watching Brenda sit stone-faced, hair perfectly styled like she was at another HOA meeting. Her lawyer spun tales of stress, community pressure, temporary psychosis. But the evidence told a different story. Months of threats, recordings, emails, and that hidden camera. The verdict: guilty, aggravated assault, unlawful possession, trespassing. The judge's final words echoed in the room. Power without compassion isn't leadership. It's cruelty dressed as order. When she was led away in cuffs, I didn't cheer. I didn't even feel victorious, just hollow, because justice doesn't erase what's been done. It just stops it from happening again. Afterward, the hospital replaced the door to Mom's room. New paint, new locks. But every time I walked down that hall, I could still hear it, that single violent echo. Mom recovered slowly. Her laugh came back, soft and tired, but real. Sometimes she'd squeeze my hand and say, "You did good, kid. You kept your calm." And I'd smile because I knew she was wrong about one thing. I didn't keep calm. I just learned how to hold my fury steady. Brenda lost everything. Her title, her home, her reputation. But even that didn't bring satisfaction. Because beneath all her cruelty, there was something pitiful. A person so desperate for power she'd forgotten what it meant to be human. Sometimes, I still pass the old neighborhood when driving to the hospital. The lawns look perfect, the fences straight, the peace restored. But every time I see a clipboard or hear the click of heels down a hall, my chest tightens just a little because I'll never forget the night someone tried to measure my mother's worth. With a gun. She measured every patient's worth, except her own humanity.